Hey guys, Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this magnificent Monday here in Connecticut. Life's good, man. Did you have a good Christmas holiday? If you celebrated it, Kwanzaa, whatever. Mine was awesome. We had just such a wonderful time. It was the three of us. Nobody was traveling, so it was just the three of us, and it was the best. Anyway, you saw the thumbnail. Chapped and dry lips. What do you do? I've had a lot of issues with this in the past. I got rid of them. There's no reason any one of you should ever have chapped or dry lips again. It's very, very simple. Okay? Let me honk a little bit and we'll get to it. Double season Urban. Life is good. Now, chapped and dry lips. It's interesting, guys, because this is definitely geared towards trumpet. No question about it. But we're coming through at the issue via health and fitness. It is absolutely 100% a physical thing. There is no reason in the world, none, that you have to have chapped or dry lips ever again. We'll get back to that. Some of you know where I'm going with this already. All right. Now, what is chapped or dry lips? It's one thing and one thing only, guys. It's dehydration. Okay? Now, the weather and the elements and everything can exacerbate the problem, but the fact of the matter is, if you have chapped or dry lips, you're dehydrated. What's a cough? Dehydration. What's a sore throat? Dehydration. What's a runny nose? Dehydration. What's pneumonia? Caused by different things and everything. At the end of the day, it's dehydration. Your body is working overtime with a runny nose and whatever, via congestion to fill you up because you are dehydrated. That's it. And guys, if you just drink your fluids, you have no dehydration. Now, look at this picture of Louis. I used that at the beginning. I've used it different times. Now, I'm not talking about his cracked lips. That's just, I find that uncomfortable to look at, to tell you the truth. It just looks so painful, doesn't it? But I want you to take the mangled part, put that aside, and look at the outsides and the bottom lip. Those are dehydrated lips. Those are chapped lips, man. Our man Louis is dehydrated. Okay? Cigarettes, pot, and all this sort of stuff didn't help. He just had to drink more fluids. And guys, not beer and booze. Alcohol is a diuretic. It goes right through you and it dehydrates you. Doing you no good. Hot day and you're thirsty and all this sort of stuff, yes, a beer may taste good. It doesn't help. It exacerbates the problem. It's a diuretic. It dehydrates you. Okay? Now, as I told you, I taught public school for 30 years after I got my playing career done. And how many times have you seen this? Little kids that have chapped lips, what do? They lick them. They lick them. And it just makes matters worse. Why? Because you have already dry, chapped lips. You're putting moisture on it, which is very, very common. That's exactly what you feel like you need. You're putting moisture on it. But that moisture, especially if it's saliva, dries very, very quickly. And then you're adding more dehydration onto the dehydration. you are using a dehydrating agent to put on dehydration. That's why it just gets worse and worse and worse. Okay? Now, fast forward. Grew up in Maine, but one of the coldest places sometimes in the winter was New York City. Now, as you know, New York City is an island, so you had the ocean, well, Hudson River on one side and the ocean on the other. And sometimes the wind coming off that water, you're going to laugh because I'm going to talk about compression again. The wind would go through those huge buildings, you know, the skyscrapers and everything, and it would compress the wind. And sometimes those gusts would get so brutal. And the air was just dry, dry, dry. And all of us were just absolutely suffering in the winter with dry, chapped, bloody lips. I'll never forget, there was one time we did Tchaikovsky Fifth. I love that piece. But the horn player, you bet it, every year was suffering with dry lips. And he had a heck of a time with that solo. I mean, that solo is a tough one, you know, under the best of circumstances. You throw bloody lips on it, please. He had a nervous breakdown. Guys, now, everybody had their own evil concoctions of goop. Oh, I do Vaseline in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I put this on it, and then I end up with lip balm, and I go to bed, and I have they make their own concoction. I mean, it's crazy. It is the exact same principle as the saliva, the kid. You are putting an agent on the lips, which initially may make it feel better. Okay? It will make it feel better. But over the long haul, like the saliva, that Vaseline, that goop, that lip balm, whatever it is going to dry itself, and you have a dehydrating agent that you're putting on dehydrated lips. Guys, yes, and initially, that feels better. And you're going into orchestra, this poor kid with the Czech 5, and he's putting his goop on the stuff. Jeez, right before he plays this thing. Guys, now back then I was using Carmex. Okay? You see the whole yellow little thing. Now that was better than the other stuff because it was basically just wax. That's all it was wax. And that had less moisture in it than the others. So I thought I had my little secret weapon. You know? As it turns out, all of them not only do they not do any good outside the first little sensation you get, they make things worse. If you really want to get rid of dry lips and keep them off forever, drink more water. Drink your fluids. I'm not talking beer, I'm not talking alcohol. Alcohol is a diuretic. It goes right through you and it dehydrates you more than when you started. I see all these guys, you know, hot day, they're sitting down, watching the ball game and everything with a beer. Like the goop you're putting on your lips, it may taste good first, but it dehydrates you even more. Okay? I'm getting off the subject. Okay? Water is the best. It dehydrates yourself. Now, 99.9% of the people in the world are dehydrated. If you are not peeing clear at least once an hour, 2 hours at the latest, you're dehydrated. And that includes the nighttime. So I stopped drinking my fluids by 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So I'm not getting up every hour on the hour to wake up to go to the bathroom. Okay? But what am I doing? I'm literally, to a certain degree, so I can sleep, dehydrating myself. Okay? Now, if your body is hydrated, you're not going to have chapped lips. Now, if you go out in extreme weather, and it doesn't have to be cold weather. I talked about New York City. Everybody knows, if you follow this thing, that I love going to the beach. And I go when I go up to Maine, when I go down to Jersey, I spend hours at the beach. I love it. And I'm in the water, salt water, dehydrating. And I have issues more in the summer than I do in the winter. Okay? But as long as I am drinking my water, as long as I don't get sunburned, now that's a different thing. I wear a visor for that and all that sort of thing. But anyway. Okay? Now, it's cold here in Maine, and it will be till the end of February. When I go out and when I get out, it's not even conscious anymore. But instead of licking, instead of putting some goop on, I want to make sure any excess moisture that's on the lips, I wipe off. So yes, you're initially making your lips drier, but without the saliva there that's going to dry and make it worse, you're ahead of the game. And as long as you are drinking your water, your fruit juices, all that sort of stuff, you are not going to have chapped lips. I don't have chapped lips, and I haven't put Carmex or anything on them in years. Now, many times kids in school, again, they get these red, and in the short term, you send them down to the nurse, and the nurse puts Vaseline on it. It makes the kid feel better. He stops crying, blah, blah, blah. Long term, it doesn't work. What happens? It just has to run its course that the kid eventually starts drinking more water, fluids, whatever, and the dehydration goes away. It's not the Carmex. It's not the Vaseline that makes it better. It's dehydration. Anyway, that's that. So going into these cold, extreme months, and I'd be willing to bet. I have my buds out in Las Vegas. Perico, Greg, all you guys, if you want to comment. I'm thinking they don't have a lot of problem for this reason and this alone. If you live in Las Vegas, you have to be you're living in a desert. You have to be very, very cognizant of keeping yourself hydrated. I bet they just do that as a matter of course, and I'd be willing to bet, unless they're out sunbathing, they fall asleep or something like that, and they sunburn the lips, I bet they have very, very little trouble with chapped lips. Why? As I just said, because drinking water and staying hydrated, I'm sure, is just a way of life out there. So anyway, take that as it may, but guys, save your money on lip balm. Just drink water. It's as simple as that. Anyway, eat and drink fruits and vegetables and live your life with true power. Love you all.